Hey, welcome to Art with Ian. Today we're talking about character design. That's coming up next. All right, welcome to the character design series. This is episode 2, Getting Inspired. Today we're going to be talking about gathering references and just in general looking to places that inspire us to, design the characters that we've got the specs for. So let's go ahead and look at why we get inspired. So, or some of the benefits of getting inspired. So, it's good value for time spent to gather reference before starting on a project because starting cold can lead to work or lead to redundant designs at best, basically, and uninspired looking work at worst. So, basically, going in cold is either going to lead to you doing what you've always done and not bringing anything fresh to your work, or it's going to lead to something that looks even less inspired than some of your other work. So it's really important. So, and then the act of gathering reference helps us to solidify our ideas and affirms the direction we intend to take. So if this step is skipped, the pressure of making a big design decision on top of the focus required to actually draw is overwhelming. So basically, you're sitting there trying to actually just draw. Just that alone takes a lot of brain power. And if on top of that, you're also trying to figure out what it is you want to do or where you want to go, it can be basically, it can freeze you up. It can make it so it feels impossible. And if you don't start on a positive foot at the beginning of a workday, it can completely destroy your day. You know, your first few sketches all feel like crap, and it just it can really drain the mood and make you feel, just kill your confidence. And one of the biggest things about doing good art is just having the confidence that you can find a design that works. I mean, you know it's going to take some time and effort, but you know you can do it, and having that confidence is essential. And then lastly, the real world is inspiring. Draw from it, just like your favorite designers do. I mean, if you really start digging in and looking at some of the stuff in this world, it is some seriously fascinating. There are some really fascinating stuff out there. So, yeah, super, super big deal to look at what's real in the world when designing sci-fi and fantasy and all that. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff that I grabbed to get inspired for my designs. First thing is wardrobe. So when it comes to sci-fi character design, you want to find, for me anyways, personally, you want to find clothing that doesn't look like they try to be futuristic. Like, there's never going to be a time where people go out and say, "Oh, it's the future now. I better start dressing like it's the future." You know what I mean? So I've always found that quite silly when you have these overly futuristic looking designs. So I prefer to grab stuff that feels a little more viable, basically. Um, I got these for I really like this setup here. And I think this is very Star Wars looking, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't mind. I don't mind that. So also know what kind of direction you like. Like when you watch a film, what kind of wardrobe do you feel works? I really like the scarf idea that you could pull up if you need to. Not so sure about this bag. It makes it look like, what, are you going to college or something? I'm not sure. Um, I really like this design of this vest thing happening. It looks, we don't have designs quite like this, but it looks believable. Like it could be made, it could happen. It's not over the top. Um, I like fingerless gloves, so I thought that was cool to have that. Also the boots, very believable boots. Like they look like they would be relatively comfortable, but they don't look too like today's style. Again, another one I really like again, with this kind of, there's a buckle there, and then this kind of little bit of something, and you've got these little lines of design happening in here. They're subtle, but they do a lot of work, you know. And I like that. I like the way that looks. It feels, again, futuristic, but without being stupid, basically, for lack of a better word. I like this. These little things to catch light. I also really like this along the sleeve. This is a nice breakup. And a lot of times these kinds of little extra details is what can help push that slightly sci-fi feeling. This is kind of interesting down in the leg, just breaking the color up a little bit. I don't know if that's to like tighten the pant leg or what. I also really like this big old scarf thing coming down. That could be kind of cool for one of my characters. And as you can tell, this kind of concept, these kinds of like a vest, a jacket, or heavy sweater, and then regular pants is kind of like the theme, right, that I've gone with. This is going to be like my normal outfit look, and I want them to look like, if you go and hang out, if like let's say you went to work and look around, if there's no dress code, at what people are wearing, they all look like they come from the same place and the same era. And so for most of my characters, even though they're coming from different parts of the galaxy, they're on a team, and so I want them to look like a team, like to some degree, you know what I mean? So, and then we get into a little bit of leather. I'll probably do leather on at least one, maybe two of the characters. I think I'm gonna put Psyche, the hacker, in leather, which is why I grabbed kind of like a slightly looser male. And this is really good for like the fold theory. Seeing how the fold theory works, on a slightly baggy pair of leathers and how they catch light is quite nice. Also, this feels a little bit future-y, just something to catch light. So that's why I went with that. I did grab a pair of leathers on a woman as well, just in case I decide to put either res or mica in leathers. I haven't decided yet. But again, you can see, the fold theory, even on something this tight, when you move, it's going to fold. So that's good reference for that. And then I really want to put one of them in a big kind of jacket, like trench coat type of jacket. I don't know that I'll go this plain, but this is a really good cut, especially really digging the collar. Look at that big old collar. It's cool looking. You want, things that feel like they have character are going to make your character have character, and you want to think about that. Don't make them, there's a balance between just going way over the top, unless you're going for something over the top, and that's the whole motif, but for this I'm not. There's a balance between that and underwhelming, where it just feels like you haven't done anything to give them character. They're just kind of boring. They're so realistic, they're boring, I really like this design for something future-y. Just that bit of, the cut kind of comes across like this. It's not central. And that's something we don't see, that button's over on the side. That's something we don't see all the time. And so it feels a little bit foreign. So that's basically wardrobe. That's enough for me to be getting, to be going with as far as my wardrobe is concerned. So let's look now at weapons. So we've got some guns here. Now, something really important to consider when you're gathering reference for your own concepts or designs is try not to use other people's concept art. So if you look up sci-fi guns, you're going to get a big old list of other people's designs. They're not real. Sci-fi guns don't exist. So you have to be really careful. Look for things that don't look like another concept artist came up with it. I mean, obviously that's probably generally what this stuff is. This right here, this one in the middle. This is something, I think it's like some kind of gun you can buy that you can like paint yourself and stuff. So that was kind of cool. And generally, I'm looking for stuff that feels mostly like a weapon from today with a slight tweak into the futuristic, just to kind of help me see how other people have tackled the issue, but without kind of going all the way into a direction where I'm just going to take that and just run with it exactly, kind of a thing. So this the rifle here, this is going to be probably used for Micah. Something between this and this will be for Micah. She's got a laser rifle. And then I'll also probably I'll probably also pull from this for the plasma cannon for Nanki. So that's some guns. Let's look at a few blades. So Rez has Dirk knives, but they're energy blade knives. So, but I want them to be the shape of Dirks. So I grabbed some. I looked up Dirk blades, and I grabbed some that I thought had a nice feel for what I wanted to go for. And then also Micah has a tactical blade, and so I just found a tactical blade that I can. It's a good kind of starting point that I can go with, because I don't think it really matters at what point in the future you get to. A tactical blade is probably always going to be relatively similar, So, and then for the sake of not having this go on and on and on, I've only grabbed refs for 2 of the characters to show you kind of how I would gather character reference sheets. So this is now getting specific. So this one is for Rez herself. And if you remember from her write-up, which I will have a link to the Google Doc with the write-up in the description. So as I said in the first episode, if you want to join in and actually do these designs, I'm just putting together and starting a Discord server for this channel. And by the time this series is over, that Discord server will be up. And I will have a place where you can post if you decide to join in and do these designs along with me. Then you'll be able to post there and we can talk about them and stuff. Anyways, so in the write-up for Rez, I say in there that her species is recently evolved to land. So I wanted to look for amphibians and other creatures that come from a period in history when that was happening on our world. And I don't want her to look too weird. This is a decision you have to make. If you want this to look accessible to a human who's going to be actually the one digesting this content, if you get too weird with the characters they're supposed to empathize with and connect with, they won't be able to. So it's a matter of trying to make them interesting, but something that can be connected with. So I want to take some of this beautiful, beautiful patterning and coloring from these exotic frogs, and maybe like this fin on the back of this dinosaur, and maybe like I can give her like a mohawk, let's say, but instead of hair, it's like a spike like this, and then maybe some of this patterning on her face, and maybe her eyes are a little bit bigger and more like an amphibian eye. And then I grabbed this for just general, maybe just to keep my brain ticking over and not get too focused on the frogs, just to add a little bit something else. How much of it I'll actually use, I don't know, but it's just there. So, but I keep going back to like this blue and this orange, these colors. I don't know which one I'll go with. It'll probably depend partially on what color palette I'm developing around her and with my other characters, and which one will look the best within that palette. So we'll see. Okay, and then Nanki, he's our big dude, and he's got a plasma cannon. So I've went and got a reference of a literal plasma cutter, which maybe his weapon I can try to work some amount of like the rudimentary, like the actual creation of plasma box into the weapon, or maybe he's got a backpack with this and then a cord coming to the weapon. I don't know. But then here's some actual plasma stuff, like way more. This is the the eye candy stuff that maybe we see, like the barrel of his weapon. Maybe we see some of this, like these right here around the actual cannon, and with like the cool light going on inside. I'm not sure. There are several representations of plasma. This is real though. This is actually legitimately real life. So both of these. So these colors are probably, I'll probably go this route. Like you've probably seen representations of plasma as being like neon green and maybe even red. But anyways, I'm not a scientist on the, I don't know actually enough about it to do like a hard sci-fi kind of version. This is definitely soft sci-fi, as in not real science, but just set in a science fiction setting. And then for his actual face, the notes said that he's vaguely reptilian, but not a lizard creature. So what that tells me is we want to take some of this aesthetic from the lizard and slap it onto something that feels more humanoid. So I've got an image of a Neanderthal. I've got a big, huge, hulking, burly dude who I think his actual body type is maybe even slightly more broad than I want to do, but it's a good, that just muscles on top of muscles look. And so I'll try to marry these ideas together, and it's a really hard objective to try and do reptilian creature thing without looking like a lizard. Like if you don't forfeit the nose of a humanoid, but you put some scales on, then that might look weird. But if you forfeit the nose, then you get extremely lizard-like really quick with that more of a flat muzzled, like this here, this right there, that line right there. You see it here too. If you start flattening out and doing like the nostril like that, it becomes very lizard creature very quickly. So that's going to be a really tough one to deal with. But we'll see when we get there as we really start to design it. I'm thinking heavy brows and maybe some larger plates, like breaking the face up into like these kinds of zones, like maybe like that, and then like a larger plate along the side, heavy brows, and that way we don't get too much into like literal scales all over the place and that whole lizard feel. But anyways, that'll be in episode 3 or 4 that we start getting into really, really working that level of the detail. So anyways, that's going to wrap up this one. We've got all of our, we've got all of our reference material. We're inspired and we're ready to start putting ideas down. So that'll be episode 3, sketching. I believe I'm going to be sketching in silhouette instead of with line, because I want to put the group together, and the best way to see how they work together will be full solid silhouettes. So if you're interested in learning how to sketch in shape instead of just line with silhouette, that'll be next week. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, share it with your friends, ring the bell for notifications of future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.